comes the gavel.
Get the big one.
Want to say the pledge?
No.
Do you?
Do it. Thank you. Turn around. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have an announcement to make before we get going. I want to say thank you to everybody that came out last Friday, the 108, and even that were yes, and the one no vote. Thank you very much for coming out. Did anybody else like to say anything?
I just thought it was really great to see people come out and support the schools like that. It was a really positive night, and just to hear person after person at the microphone supporting our school. And thank you.
Okay.
Ditto.
Now, we found out, this is not so good news, we're not going to get as much money as we thought we were going to get the second time around from the state. So, I think the figure was $172,000, Nate? Somewhere around there.
Yeah. For next year.
For next year. Now, the thing that we're gonna, it's up to the board. I don't wanna say you guys again, I'm sorry. But, we need to get permission from you to talk to Gordon and see if we can take that money again and, put it into that special warrant for the air handlers and the fire alarms. That's entirely up to the board, because we're gonna be shy. Money.
Put next year's money on that as well, you mean?
Yes, it's up to you as a board. I'd like everybody's opinion, because we're gonna be shy some money. So we're only gonna have $117 left of that money in order to do, and we need to get the real good estimates for the Newt, middle school, and MES to do the fire alarms. That's what we need. So we're shy. I think the rough estimate is what, $400,000? Where's Bob?
Bob stepped
I think I
out.
lost Bob.
Stepped out a minute.
Stepped out for a minute. So we
went
still
on
need,
an errand for me.
I'm sorry?
You went on an errand for me.
Okay. So we probably need, well, another, on that, maybe 200 and, we're gonna need quite a bit of money, because we're gonna get 117. So we're gonna need that other money. So it's up to the board.
It's around 172. Some change.
Yeah, so we're still gonna need more money to complete those fire alarms jobs. I'm sorry?
Yes.
117 after the handling was done, so.
Yeah, left over, yeah, you're right.
So I thought we were gonna make, I thought the final thing is we were gonna upgrade one of the school's fire alarms and then use the pieces to not do the other school right away.
That's correct, but we still don't have enough money.
To just do one school?
No, we do not. We only have 117,000. That's what this yellow
No.
sheet. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He means with the.
With the other money.
Yeah, oh, I would, yeah, that's the way to do it. It's up to you as a board member.
Well, you said we, even with that other money, we're gonna be short.
One job to complete the second job. We can do one job with that other money.
Yeah, we don't need to do a second job. We have enough parts for the first job.
Well, it's entirely up to the board.
Do we need to make a motion or anything, or wait until we're?
Well, I'm asking permission from the board to talk to Gordon and see how we can handle that process.
Make a motion to give you permission. I think it's a great idea to
Second
use for that.
And then, okay, now we can discuss it. Now we got it on the floor. Then we can decide if we're definitely gonna do both air handlers, or just one air handler. So,
No, air handlers we're doing.
I meant the fire
Fire
alarms, I'm
alarms.
sorry. Most people know what I'm talking about. My wife does.
Something.
My wife does.
So everybody understand what happened next year? We're getting an additional sum.
172,000.
So we're giving permission to Doug to do a preemptive strike to see if that money can be also put into that fund to offset the rest of the cost for at least one fire alarm system. Right?
Correct. And then
So
you,
that we do it the correct way.
yeah,
With less warrant articles.
so,
Doug, do we know if we're gonna be getting it at the beginning of the year?
I don't know if to talk to the attorney. But,
We get it 4 times a year.
well,
Is this 172 additional
Yes.
funding from the state? Yeah,
beyond the 361.
So we would only do engineering study for the one fire alarm,
No,
right?
no, I think we need to do them for both. If we have to
Well-
do it down the road later on, we'll have to have it.
Well,
done.
I know, but I feel like they said that it would it expires, I think.
Right.
Well, when
Right.
it's entirely up to the board. When I made that proposal on this sheet, the only reason we couldn't go to the renovation fund to get the money to do the engineering study, they wouldn't pay for it. So the engineering study, I guess the total amount for both schools is $25,000. Bob would have to break it down.
I think the biggest thing we have to go over is obviously the animal job is done.
Well,
We have to determine which school is in the greatest need for a fire alarm system, do that school, take the parts out of that school that we don't use and use them for the other school until we can actually afford to do the second one.
I think it's important to figure when we're doing that, how long out we're gonna try to stretch it.
'Cause the
That will
engineering
determine
will-
whether or not we wanna do
The engineering study will lapse, correct.
but we'll have a good firm figure what to expect. I don't think it was gonna change that much over a couple of, I don't think we're gonna do it in a couple of years, the second one. We'll have a good handle of what the cost is gonna be.
All right, well, at least let's start with
Well,
putting the money.
maybe that's a
towards-
question to ask Bob when he comes back.
We'll be back momentarily.
All right, any more discussion on that? Peg?
No, yes. Am I supposed to vote yes?
Well, it's up to
You
you.
made the motion.
Okay, then I vote yes. Did anybody second
Oh,
it?
can you say no
Yeah,
to
I
your own
did.
motion?
Well, usually what you can do, I guess the proper protocol is, if you're a yes vote, you can make a motion. If you're a no vote, you can make the second motion to discuss it.
So
You don't
withdraw
have-
your own motion. Try that, see what happens.
Okay,
I'm voting yes.
Melissa?
Yes. I knew what I
Yes,
wanted.
yes.
Okay, and none of you have a problem if when I talk to the attorney, with Nate Earl, that Peg can be there as the vice chair so she can hear it? Anybody have a problem with that? Or the whole board wants to be there, I'm willing to do that too. It's up to the board.
Someone will win.
Does the board have any problem with that?
Not at all.
Paul? No? Okay, because I'd like to have you all there, because if you all have different questions, I might not have an idea of a question that you might have. I'd be better off. Okay.
A little bit.
What's that? Paul?
Okay.
Okay, I must admit, today I had an adventure.
We all did.
We all did. And I went to the DRA. I'll let Nate talk. And then I went to the Labor Board hearing, and it's something I'd never done before, and I must tell you, it was an eye-opener for me, and I wish the whole board could have been there even to go to the DRA was a learning experience for me. And that's a good-sized campus. And we walked around quite a bit, and what it was before was a mental institution, but all the,
What were the DRA?
that's what it was, mental hospital. And
The
that's
DRA?
Yeah, that's what I was
everybody,
laughing
Department of
about.
Education, Department of Labor, it's a huge campus.
Earl, is it the place that we went when we went? The same building?
It's a place that you were a patient at years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went back for something.
Peg and I were there for a long time.
Well, you want to say something about the DRA, or would you like me to?
No.
I didn't
Okay.
think that.
Well, I have to admit, I think what we did was a little unprecedented. It's not the norm to do, for us to go and hand our paperwork like that over to our DRA representative. And I'll tell you, security was tight. I'm telling you.
It's because of you and Earl, I'm sure.
That's right.
You were fine.
They're a little sketchy, huh?
Yeah. Immediately, we couldn't talk to our representative because the supervisor had to come down and talk to us first because they had no idea. I guess we didn't properly tell them why we were coming. And I guess,
Just didn't answer her phone.
so, once they found out what we wanted, because I guess normally, sometimes people that come in there probably aren't very nice because it deals with tax money. But they accepted us real well, the supervisor. And then all these years that Nate's worked with this young lady, we finally got to meet her. And she was, they were both extremely pleasant. And I'm afraid I shouldn't say afraid, but we talked to them for quite a while, the supervisor. And it was interesting about, we have 259 towns, they have to set the tax rate. And up in northern New Hampshire, some of the, in that district, they set tax rate they set, they have a negative number. You don't have to pay any taxes.
Ooh.
Isn't that what
What?
they said, Nate?
Yeah,
And
Why?
because no
Because-
real is there.
because they get revenue from the federal government, because the area is forested. So they have to look at everything differently. Interesting. So they took our information, the town has passed in its information, so the town can now set its tax rate. So we've done our job, we did it, and then we went over to the labor board, and then I found that to be, security was tight over there too, but it was an interesting endeavor. So,
The key thing there, as he said, was that by going there, we work, the school is working hard to ensure the tax rate is done as fast as it can. So part of the thing was to make sure that all timelines were met before the vote, that everybody did a fantastic job with that. And also to set the tax rate as fast as they can, so the town can have the tax rate as well. So with all the schools they have and all the work they have, we certainly, I think we were the only ones ever to get through there. We didn't get into the rooms, they kept us out in the lobby, but we got, but we got the job done.
okay.
Right, so
All right, we're on the budget. What's the liking of the board? Right now, we're, what, Nate, you wanna take over, please?
Yeah, I can tell you some of the changes, weren't a lot, but the biggest change is the report itself. I did it in Excel.
way better.
I had to format it, it took me 2 days, so I hope you
Love
appreciate
it.
it.
I did.
I do think it looks better too, though. Let's see, I took out all health insurance. I had initially estimated 9% increase, it ended up being a 7.2. And I had to raise dental, I initially put a 2% increase, they went up 3.9%. The biggest, actually the only other change on that, on the bottom line was in special ed. We had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we had one child we're actually going to keep in district,
Yes.
and another one we are transitioning to a different
A day program.
day program
Residential.
instead of residential. There you go.
But in that, we pay just the ed part of it. We don't pay where the student lives, but we pay the educational component for them. So,
Two different guys.
Yeah. It's kind of complex, but,
Also, before you start, also here tonight to work on the warrant articles also, so we're on the budget right now. So,
Question, Doug.
go ahead.
Can you give a rough estimate of what percentage of this budget is immovable? State mandate, federal law, state law, regulation?
Yeah, I haven't calculated that yet. Usually I do it for the budget committee.
Okay,
It's generally, I think last year was around 95% was uncontrollable. It's a huge portion of that 100%.
okay.
Of what? Special ed or everything?
Everything.
Everything.
Of our overall budget. So I just want to make sure, because people are like here,
Yeah.
so it's nice for them, if they have questions, ask the questions. Why is this so much for this and should we can't change it? You know, why is this? Because we can't change it. So it makes it, I mean, we do control the things we try to control, but, you know, there's only so much we can do.
I think you should listen to what Paul is saying, because if it comes down to the point for default budget, point is gonna be, you're gonna be cutting services and staff. That's the only way to do it. Go ahead.
John hooked me up. Last year, controllable versus uncontrollables. Out of the percentage of increase at the time of a 2.68% increase, of that 2.68, only 0.41 was controllable. 0.41% of that increase.
Thanks, John.
That's in the purple bucket.
Yeah.
Would you repeat those numbers?
Not looking up.
4.8%
No,
of
2.68%.
2.68%, only
Increase.
2.68% of the overall initial proposed budget, only 0.41% of that increase
okay. I thought it was more than that.
was
Okay.
from controllables.
All right. I'm going, how do you get 41% or 4.1% out of 2.8%?
And I never, as much as I try.
I
So-
know.
How you doing, Mr. Clark?
Hanging in. How
All
are you?
right, good.
So, what's the board's liking? Now, you still need to go before the budget committee. And I don't know if the board wants to wait.
What's,
Yeah, go ahead.
so what's our overall increase over last year right now? Percentage-wise?
4.82.
4.82? And what's the biggest part of that?
Special ed.
Special ed? Okay. Which is uncontrollable, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not to beat the dead horse, but I'm
But
just...
no, it's a good thing to bring
We
it
need
up.
to say, you know what, let's buy, new
Say it
Tupperware
again
for the
and say it
kitchen. We're
again.
actually having to
People,
absorb the cost of more stuff.
the other thing I want to bring up, and we'll talk about it later. Well, there's Bob over there. Wonderful, maybe it's changed. The plow truck we got for the town went to the garage, Bob.
It's down back to the town line,
Well, we don't know what's wrong with it.
not yet.
So it was what, burning oil?
But it's spilling oil.
Spilling
It's
oil.
leaking onto the manifold, so.
We don't know how serious it is. We are, I'm just telling you, we keep putting stuff off and it's costing us more money in the long run. We're gonna have the same problems, I know. We're gonna have the same problem with the two buses. We need to discuss that tonight too. What you'd like to do with that? So, what happened? So what do we wanna do?
We can borrow that new $85,000 truck the fire department got, and use it to plow our driveway up there.
Can you put a plow on a fire truck?
I don't know, we should try it. It's an $85,000 truck. and Should be able to put a plow on it.
Anybody? No,
Try
has a
another
question.
warrant article with that
Who?
one?
John, have his hand up.
I guess, I remember one year, we made it, there was a vote, 2% increase. You guys had said, like, do a 2% increase, and that's what we're looking for. I think we're at 4% now. I mean, I did look at the budget, I have some ideas, but it not only affects MES, a portion of it could affect new. So I think it's something that I'd like to do as an admin team, but I'd like to know what you think would be an acceptable increase over last year. Keeping in mind, we cut 2.67%, and those costs didn't go away, technically. We just had to work them into the default budget. So it's not we're looking at a 2-year increase. So I think if you guys come up with a percentage increase, and the 4 is the max, are you comfortable with going to the board?
but we gotta go before the budget committee and what they're comfortable with. So,
Well, I mean, what you're comfortable in defending, I mean, what you're comfortable in, I mean, you guys have to, this is your budget.
but this is, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think if we present it to the budget committee that it's a 4.8% increase, 4.37 of that we can't control, and here's the proof. If you want us to work on the, the .43, we can do that, or whatever, we can work on that part of it, but, I mean, this is what we have to deal with, this is what we're presented to, these are our cards.
Well, 2% of it, I mean, you said 4 point something, and it's like a $500,000 increase? And I looked just quickly at the stuff, so it's
Yeah.
250,000 is special ed. So
Right.
we're looking, and that's about 2% of it, so we're looking at playing with 2%.
It's true.
Yep.
Well, I was looking at Wakefield's budget for next year, and theirs suggested increase is 6.9. And they got a budget committee, so they gotta get through their budget committee also. How much is
High.
it? What's it, Pam?
No, I just said it, I think it started out at 27, but no, not really. Bob, do you remember what it was? The town, what they first came in with?
It was high.
Pardon?
It was high, I don't
Yeah,
remember the exact
6
number.
maybe?
Huh?
6%? Yeah.
But see, the town's in the same situation we are.
It was about that big, 6%.
Yeah. Well, I did have some questions. I don't know if we want to go through any questions or what anybody else wants to do, but I went down through it today.
It's up to you.
Well, let me ask my questions. Transportation. Was there a new bus put in the operating budget?
There's a bus and a van,
New bus and van?
and that comes out to 46,000.
What?
The first year of a lease for the bus, which was 19,000, and then 27 for just purchasing a van.
So 27, and then the bus was how much leasing?
Yeah, 18,000.
July of 2020, right?
Are we taking it out of this budget, Nate?
Well, it's in this budget now,
So,
he
yeah,
said,
Doug, so
Yes,
July of
keep it.
2020.
that we did last time.
Yeah, we put it off last time, both of them. See what's gonna happen to us is, if we postpone it another year, we get to the point, something breaks down and we don't have a spare bus. Same with the plow truck, same with the buses.
So the replacement van is gonna replace a van that has 201,000 on it, and the bus is gonna replace a bus, which is a 2005, with 204,000 miles on it.
Now, to be honest with you, what about the study that you did?
I looked into it, and
Listen to what he has to say, please.
first student, from what I was able to ascertain, some of it was on the QT, because some of the transportation people didn't want to be identified. I feel like it's impeachment here, but what I found out, like, for example, first student is 8 years. In New York, it was 10 years was the rule of thumb. So it's not necessarily miles on the bus, but it's years of the bus. And then also, an important thing is, where did the bus go for the years that it was? Was it on the main road? Was it on side roads? So I think that, in terms of years, when I talked to Tim, I think he mentioned it was the 2008 bus, but we just said the
Yeah,
2005.
2005.
So we're looking at 12 years. So then, as John asked the question, and the board is going to go back and forth with the BC, with the committee, and Peg asked the question, it's kind of around and around, but as we go through it, then, as I brought up originally, and then the board will make a decision, and the budget committee will do their thing, and the process will evolve. So the question arises, do you want to, in the end, do you want to put it as a separate standalone warrant article, or whatever the case is? So A, do you want to keep it in there? Do you want to embed it in there? B, do you not want to embed it in there? And if you don't want to embed it in there, then you want to have a standalone, and part of the argument, whether it's in the budget or out of the budget, which, as Doug pointed out, was the quote study, but the call-arounds that I made. But by and large, school districts are not really trying to keep a bus that's 12 years old on the road. And-
Well, our bus is 14
yeah,
years
so
old if it was
that's what I'm saying.
2005.
So, I mean, it isn't, I looked at some of these things to the outliners, as Larry Brown called them, and I went through them. There's a couple more that, as we go in, we have discussions that we'll, I'm sure we'll take a look at. So is there questions about the age of the bus rather than the miles of the bus?
And condition of the bus.
Yeah.
So So does the board want to leave them in or take them out?
Well, I have another question.
Okay.
Do we still have leases on any of the other buses, or?
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Okay, so this would just be adding another 19,000 to the existing lease that's in the operating budget, right?
I don't know when another one drops off though, so I'm not sure. how many-
If you look at the notes in the budget, I do think it tells you what payment it is.
Yeah, there was something in one of the others.
Well, he did give us a
Yes.
chart, okay, but I didn't get that.
119,000,
Yeah,
year
so
4.
Page 21 and 22. Well, actually, it's gonna be the same, so either one.
Yeah,
So one bus is year 4 of 5, one's year 3 of 5, another one's 3 of 5, and 2 of 5.
So at the top of 22 you're talking about? Nick?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, all right, see it. There's your chart right there.
okay. I'm wondering if maybe, try
Page
again
21.
for a warrant article. I mean, I know you're the warrant article guru, Paul.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just thinking maybe add one of them in the budget and the other one try a warrant article. I don't know.
We did the warrant for the van last year and it failed.
I know.
Leave it in.
I mean, the buses are a necessity. I mean, the vans, how many vans do we have? I mean, some of these vans are beat, but, go ahead, John. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
2, 3,
We're all in this together.
4.
Well, it depends. How bad is that bus? I mean, the thing is, the parents were very clear the other night. They don't want their kid in air that's not good. So do we want our kids driving a bus that's 14 years old? How safe is that? So it would be up to the board. If we're gonna retire that bus one way or the other, are we gonna retire that bus because it is not gonna be good? Because I know as a parent, I'd rather drive my kids to school. There are, I mean, we can look at the transportation. If we don't have the bus, you could split it like we learned in our workshop, what are the needs and wants? There are needs, we need a new bus. And we also want a new bus to keep the current transportation the way it is. Or do we start expanding it to a 2-mile radius for some grade levels? Do we bring it down to 3 buses, and how does that impact transportation and overall? I mean, I think we need to look at it realistically. Like the parents said, well, we didn't realize it was like this. Well, this is what can happen if we lose the bus, and I think we need that plan out there that we're not gonna keep a bus on the road that's not safe.
But the
So
trouble,
if we don't have a bus, this is what it looked like.
go ahead, Nick.
I spoke to Tim Eldridge about the 2 conditions. The van we have right now that is supposed to be replaced, remember, it was supposed to be replaced last year, is a spare bus, and it is not roadworthy. And then the bus itself that we're talking about, Tim is confident it will not pass the inspection next year.
Both of them.
Yeah.
So,
One's that minivan, that older minivan,
Yeah.
the Chevy Uplander, they don't make. Yeah.
So, so basically, a scenario could be, if it can't pass inspection, this has been a rudimentary discussion, you know, the cat's kind of out of the, cows are kind of out of the barn a little bit here, is the administrative team will be delving into cutting one of the bus runs, not the bus runs, but cutting the bus out. So that would mean that Tim would have to reroute the existing buses. So one bus would be cut out. So therefore, the bus stops of significant amount of students would be changed. So therefore, you're looking at these things. So I think that that would be consideration based upon what Tim said to me, what we're looking at. So these are, you know, the story within a story. You know, so this is basically, where does it go? And if it doesn't go wherever it goes, whether it's in the budget or out of the budget, the effect can be that we're wiping out one whole bus, incorporating it into the other buses that are left. And therefore, the bus runs would be altered. Then it would be up to the principals and the staff to work it out clockwise so that we're, you know, obviously times. I don't want to take a lot of time and work a lot of scenarios and get people in the community worked up, but these are the realistic things. So I think we have to be transparent as we take, you know, look at it. So.
But the only problem with that, and I mean, it's a good scenario, but what it's gonna do, it's gonna put more of a workload on the buses that are left.
Precisely. Then, you know, as you're correct, then you can look at
You're gonna have to
the
turn over
causes and
quicker.
effects and the ripple effect. You know, obviously,
There's other,
many parents are gonna be upset
yeah.
because we went out and we looked at one bus run, and we went out there, Tim went out there, and we looked at it, and it meant the difference of students walking directly across the street to the bus or going this angle to the bus. And then you get out on these little side roads, and the problem arises, you have an elementary student, and when the snow gets up there, the kid is on the road. So you want your second grader or your first grader walking outside of the snowbank, which is on a quasi-type of main road without getting into the specifics. So the police officer even came out with me and Tim, and we took a look at it, and we said, you know, we have a student's life here, and we don't want the child, you know, whether it be your child or my child, you don't want them on the other side of the snowbank. So we could be on the other side of a lot of snowbanks.
I wonder though, is it part of our due diligence to actually figure out what it would be like with one fewer bus? And I think that might be what you're saying, John, right? Is to say, to give actual answers. Okay, we need a bus. This is our option. And then letting people, I mean, that the voters decide between those options. Because probably it's not a good idea to get rid of a bus. But if we could get rid of a bus, then if it didn't affect things too badly, if it was able to be safe, then that's a good thing. And if it's not, well, we've done our due diligence and we have the information for people. If you vote against this, this is what you're voting for.
And that would, you know, although I know as a board and, you know, especially Paul, and I agree, you know, with that we don't want a lot of them out there, warrant articles out there. But if it is going to be this type of consideration, and as you're saying, Emily, now the people can sit there and say, well, if they don't get this bus, this is what's going to entail. And hopefully the same reaction we had regarding the air handler, people will say, we don't want a little first grader on the other side of the snowbank. You know, so I think that this would be a consideration, but in the event the board chose to do that, that could be something, just put it as a standalone warrant article and speak to it and say, and, you know, this is why it's needed, go through the years, how old it is, the condition it's in, conceivably will not pass inspection. This is gonna be the impact on children.
Is it realistic or possible to see that impact before we even decide where it goes in the budget, or does that just take too long? You know what I mean? I don't know how.
I talked to him again today, and I said, that needs to happen.
You know, because I think that helps us decide too where we want to put it, if we can see it, and you know.
Whatever the
that-
board wants.
Paul?
So a question, the Chevy, the old van, you said that's not even on the road? Okay,
Correct, yeah.
so we've been, since when? Last year?
Ooh, I didn't ask.
That's number 7.
So
I
it,
didn't ask you to tell me.
so that, the vans are usually used for transportation to different districts, so is that what those usually are for? Kinda?
Sometimes.
So if we've been getting away with, not getting away, but we've been making do with one less van as it is now, we still have 3 caravans, they average about 23,000 miles a year. Would it be, and the buses, all the buses run every day pretty much, correct? Except for, I would say, would it be unreasonable to put the bus as part of our budget and then warrant article a van? Because the bus is a mandatory. The vans, obviously, we've gotten by for a year. Yeah, it's a little harder, but would that be something we'd be more willing to, be able to negotiate with as far as how we could make that work for something else?
But you're gonna use the van when you transport only one individual.
And we have 3 other vans.
I think
Go ahead.
that's what I heard Nate say, was that it's a spare. Is that-
It's a spare, but if we get rid of it, you have no spare.
The one that
So if
doesn't
something else
work.
breaks down, you're in trouble.
But it won't work anyway.
Right now.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying,
It's that
but as
risk.
far as,
I know, according to Tim, he said that he feels the van is much more needed than the bus.
what do you think?
I like the idea of the van going on the warrant article, which means that it has a higher chance of the bus being passed, and that's gonna be the majority of your students.
Trying to think of something.
And let me make clear, I don't think we can not have, the school cannot have warrant articles. Because there's no way you can run a town or a school without warrant articles. No way possible.
I agree, but I just don't want the 150,000.
We've never had 150,000.
We've had 15,
Well,
a little over the top.
I understand
Not
what
this year.
Paul's
But-
saying. I think we need to limit them.
Yes, we do.
but then what we had on there were legitimate warrant articles, and we lost them. You just said we lost the plow truck. Was that
We
not
lost
le-
everything,
Yeah, but that was legitimate. Now we
including the
backed up.
budget last year. So
Well,
that's why, by doing this and trying to go a little bit further into it and limiting what we do and limiting what we spend and trying to make the most of what we have and presenting it every single week to everybody we can.
I think
and
we've
so-
already,
and
I think we've
making
already
sure-
tried to do that because we backed ourselves into a corner.
Well, I don't know if we backed ourselves into a corner or
As the-
the economy backed us into a corner.
And I don't think the economy's doing good under,
Mm,
that's a different subject, under our president.
We're talking an entire bus. That is a lot of students a lot of families that are gonna be affected. A lot of families who are gonna have to alter their work schedule if their child cannot be transported. That's huge, an entire bus full of students. How many families is that gonna affect? That, I agree, Paul, that should be in the budget because it's gonna affect so many.
So what's the total budget impact of the bus and the van in the budget?
$46,000
It's in the budget.
is in the budget.
So if we took the van out, it would be 29,
19.
19.
Go
But
ahead.
then we are banking on it passing within the framework of the school budget. And whatever, it's a decision the board has
It's a tough decision.
Yeah.
to make.
It is fine.
I know. I think it's reasonable, though, to do the due diligence and see what it would be like to have one fewer bus. And then I think that sort of answers our question. So we're gonna go around and around and around, but if we don't have that information, then we can't decide where we wanna put it. But I definitely feel like if the van is a spare, and I realize it's responsible to have it, or
Yep.
I feel comfortable with that being a warrant article.
Peg, Joel said, Paul again.
Go ahead, Peg.
Well, there is
I know,
other,
I can't see anybody over there.
but there is other options in order to get rid of more buses, but I'm not gonna say it now, we'll talk about it later.
Well, I'm just saying for 2021.
They would get rid of more than one bus or 2 buses.
2021, we're
Three
applying
buses.
for 1 full bus and 2 caravans. So
It's up to
I
the
mean,
board and up to the people, whatever
there's
they wanna do.
additional transportation requested for next year, or the year after next. So,
Doug,
Yes, go ahead.
please put on the CIP, yes, no?
No, because we haven't got that.
Not yet.
We've been, what he needs, it needs a breakdown of where that money's going, and we got the list here, we gotta do it.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead.
I can tell you, just for information, the trust fund for the buses has about 17,000 in it. That's it.
Remember that, Peggy? Yeah. So we can't even buy a van yet.
Nope.
So could we put a partial request for more going into that? Because I don't remember what we asked for last year.
Well, we could, instead of going for the full 19, We could ask for less to go into that fund, and then we could buy the van, and it's up to you. And put
Well, even
the,
a warrant article for 10 to be able to buy a van
and take the rest out of the fund,
and take the rest out of the fund,
or take the bus out of the fund, whatever you want to do.
and maybe leave the bus in the budget. I mean, these are a couple of different scenarios.
Whatever the board wants to do. But I want people to realize, I don't want them to think they have not been told, because they have been told. Keep bringing it up.
Let Tim come back with us and work with the principals and stuff, and so that what you're saying is you'll have more information, and then you can make, we've beaten to death the different scenarios that we can get. Now you need to have them meet in order to decide what you want to order.
No,
John had a question, though.
Mike, I'm gonna go back to my original question. What do you think is an acceptable amount to bring to the budget committee? We're at 4.82%, so if you're saying something maybe like 3.5%, that would be another $150,000 cut. I went through and I found about a good amount, I'm gonna say what, but I do have some, and I know that Jan and I could, I'd like to do this together with the admin team. I think that you guys don't know what we can cut. You don't know what is gonna impact individual buildings and so forth. I think that if you can give us a number, like say 3.5, that's about another $150,000. And I'll tell you what I found, because my original numbers, just going through it, and I didn't have a lot of time to go through it, but my original, I found an additional 17,000 in cuts. And if we work magic, there's probably another maybe 25,000 that we can make, but we have to do things, whatever.
At
But
MES.
this would be something at MES, yeah. So,
Wow, you
maybe-
were already way down.
right. So going through and making a list of, wants and needs, which is in that paperwork that we learned, that's what we need to look at. This is what we want. This is an addition. There are some things that are an addition that we want that would really be good, but how much are they needed? And then we can look at that, and then we can present a budget with that percentage increased. I think that if we work on it together as an admin team, then we can come to you and say, this is what we can do.
but we have no guarantee. We should send this budget to the budget committee first. You with an assignment to go back and look at your budgets and see what you can cut additionally. And if we don't have to do it, we won't do it. If we have to do it, we'll do it. But I think it ought to go to the budget committee first.
Then I'm
Yes.
fine with defending it too, because we can defend all these. We're not talking luxuries, we're talking mostly basic tier 1 instructional type activities that, and there are a lot of things we put to the side, and there are things that we didn't do this year that we need to do next year. So, it's hard for us to come up with a zero, increase budget, considering that we had a 2-point-something% increase last year. So, that we didn't get. So we've already made those cuts, we're that far behind.
Mhm.
And everything else has gone up, insurance didn't go, oh, you got a default budget, oh, we won't increase your insurance costs. That's not gonna, they're not gonna do that. That's what we do. So, it's just easier, it's hard for us to, we're gonna spend a lot of time on a bus, and we're gonna save $20,000, and that's not gonna get us to where we wanna be, if you want a particular number.
See, each of the principals is looking at just what John said. I've asked each of them, Jan, John, Bob, Tim, Rob, to each look at what, if it needed to be cut, what could we cut?
Okay, yeah.
Doug?
Hold on.
Okay, you two guys, and I'm gonna look the gentleman up last.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Give your name, because we don't know who you are.
Oh, John Gagler. In regards to the buses, they're all diesel, right? Our school buses?
No, I think some are gas.
If we
Full-size
have,
ones, yeah.
if we have diesel buses, the EPA offers the Diesel Emissions Reduction Act, which offers $15,000 to $20,000 per bus for scrapping and replacing of old buses. Applications open next month, according to the website. There's over $10 million in public and private funds to go nationwide. I think that might be something worth looking into if it's available to us.
Can you give it to Earl, and we'll,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
well, even, you say that about diesel, but also some people are going to LP gas too.
Could be. I mean, I just saw for diesel, like, it's just a quick thing, and if, you know, they're offering so much money in grants, it might be, you know, that
Or even
50 or 20
batteries.
grand might be a whole bus.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is why people should come to meetings. See?
Mhm,
Right there.
Thank you.
We didn't know. There's a van right there.
Or a bus.
Or a bus.
Till you have, I'm sorry. Were you all set?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
What I was gonna suggest, you know, being on the budget committee, that if people go back and like you said, yeah, a little bit here, a little bit there, so that if the budget committee says, nope, you gotta go down to, you know, like 2%, cut $1 billion out, or we end up with another default budget, what can we actually cut without totally destroying everything? So I think it's a great
Present it
idea
as
for
is.
each department to just look at things that they can cut without totally ruining everything.
Oh, well.
We went, the fact is, we went into the budget committee last year with the leanest budget we could possibly come up with. They questioned us on some of the most minute expenditures. They're gonna wanna cut no matter what we do, okay? And if we go in with completely bare bones, they're gonna wanna cut even more. At what point do we're gonna end up not having anything. We're gonna have to cut, we have to have some area to work with them. What's reasonable, what's not reasonable?
Nate?
I agree. I think at this point, anything that we're cutting is something that we need, and we're just kicking the can down the street.
Okay.
So we want it to go back to the administrators and have them come up with a possible list, what they,
Not to present to the budget committee though, right?
No.
We're gonna present it
No,
as
just-
is.
and see
What
what
if?
happens.
What if scenarios?
Needs it?
Yeah, and you tell us where you want to go, and then we as a team will look at how we might be able to get there.
And there's no, people, I don't know of any fat in this budget. If you got less than a 2% budget or less than one at the end of being, you give that money back, you've done a good job in budgeting committee. Some people need to go to some courses and understand this. And I think our budget was, what, $63,000? And that's I'm gonna get in trouble. That's a good budget. We've done.
We've turned money, where we could save money over the years, we have turned that money back over. But
But not all
luckily,
of
we've
it's
been
a-
able to save it, but not every year we can save that.
But see, not all of it's from the operating budget. So a lot of it's from revenue that comes in. Like if we hadn't voted on this $361,000, we'd had to give it back to the town. And like, there were 7 towns that did this, and went to DRA. Now, we were lucky, some of the towns didn't do it right, so they're in trouble with the DRA.
I know.
Questions?
Oh,
Research.
say your name, I don't know who you are. Say that.
Lies.
I know it, so you're okay.
The people up there might not.
Lies. My name is Al Goodwin, and
What was that again?
I'm a Facebook warrior. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I wanted to say that I hope people understand that when this bare raised budget goes to the budget committee, I'm hoping they understand the amount of work that went into it. And knowing that we have an administration that's willing to look and say, okay, what else can we? That's so much more work on top of already educating children and trying to provide more than just a jail cell education. And I say that in the fact that having worked in public education, having worked in this district, there's only so much you can do with only so much that you have. And I had parents walk into classrooms before and say, well, why aren't you guys doing this like this school? And it's like, well, because that comes out of my pocket, or that comes out of the teacher's pocket, or that comes out of this pocket. So you really need to understand, I hope that people understand that education is more than just making sure the content is there. It's making sure that the experience is there and making it something worthwhile doing. It's not worthwhile to sit in a completely state-funded classroom and learn your multiplication skills. Sometimes you need incentives, sometimes it's a field trip, sometimes it's a fun activity that costs a little bit more money. So it kind of breaks my heart a little to hear that, well, we possibly could cut this, because what really gets cut isn't the education, it's the stuff that makes the education worth having.
Yep.
It's the little experiences that you get to have, and you get to take what you've learned and apply it. So that 4 point whatever increase compared to so many others, stop comparing it. It's your kid's life, it's your kid's education. And so many people complain about the education worth in this town. I get the same education, several other kids graduated with me. Some of them own businesses. I work at a successful company. I'm happy with it because I made something of it. But I also had teachers that poured a lot into it, and they had easier budgets to work with. I don't think it's unrealistic to ask
John's
for
next.
what's being proposed right there.
I want to piggyback on what Al's saying. If you remember, when I did budgeting, I still do it this way. I do the priorities 1, 2, and 3. And when I said that I had some cuts that I went through, it wasn't that I went through and looked for the fluff. I looked at the 2s and 3s. I have very few 3s. And then the 1 is, we really need it. 2 is, it would be really great to have it for these kids, but, you know, I can live without it if I have to. Now, that's what I went through. Now, as Al's saying, if those teachers really like it, some of them were like $1,000, some was $60. They may get cut, but teachers might still buy them because they think it's important for their kids.
And they're gonna buy that without their increase,
Right.
plus the increase of insurance.
So what we did, we've already done this. When we did the budgeting, I asked them to prioritize, so it's not, none of this is fluff. This is really, we really would love it, but if we have to, we can live without it.
Yeah.
Peg?
I have to totally agree with you. I mean, I was in education for how many years, and how many dollars every year came out of my pocket to do that type of thing. And I don't think that people realize how much of their own money teachers put into their classrooms. I mean, it may be just posters on the wall,
Yeah.
but
And I'm not saying that 4% is all arts, crafts, and fun stuff.
No,
but
no.
When you eliminate some of that other stuff, you need to look at whether it's an education or an education worth remembering.
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So just the one thing, and you're preaching to the choir. You know that as well as I do.
Well, sometimes the choir sits behind you.
Exactly. So when the choir sees a 4.82% increase, the choir's gonna say, yeah, you know what? This is the one time a year I get involved. I don't know why you go up 5%. What's the blah, blah, blah? We need to really push the reason why this is happening, and it's not just, we just came out with a magic, you know, I think we should go up 5% this year, because, you know, it's not how it works. And we really need to present it via our warrant article descriptions and presentations, and you know, give this to anybody who wants it with a detailed explanation of why it did what it did. And then we're not just pulling these numbers out of the air, you know? There's reasons for all this stuff, you know? Trust me, I get that part, you know? Both of my kids gone through here, you know, and they've really good educations for the size of the classes, so I wouldn't trade it for anything, you know?
So we all set talking about the budget? Or we gonna?
Transportation?
Transportation?
Yeah.
What about transportation?
No, I'm all
We don't
done with
do-
transportation.
Oh, she had a bunch of
She had
questions, yeah.
questions.
I did.
Other questions?
You were still on question one.
Only
That was
one.
question one.
And then
That
he
took
got
up an hour,
20.
Peg.
Okay, well, you know, I mean, I
20.
just threw it out there and you guys went with it. Question to Bob. You added another full-time person. Is that still in the budget?
Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay, my question would be, because if I remember correctly, it was more to clean the cafeteria, whatever. And I'm just wondering, would it be more prudent to pay overtime? Because we would not have any of the benefits, no health insurance, no anything. I don't know. Do they work 40 hours or do they work less than 40 hours?
Yes.
Most of the staff are 40.
Okay, so you would have to
But
pay overtime
The
over
way
40.
yeah, two people, one of the regular staff is part-time.
Okay. All right, that was just something I wanted to throw out there to look at, that if we don't really need
I agree.
a full-time, I said that doesn't come out right, a full-time person, would it be cheaper to pay overtime to have people do what you need them to do?
We're already doing that.
Do we have an awful lot of overtime?
If you look at the other lines, the sub and OT, it's, my department, I have those, so those numbers are already in there, so those are
Okay. Page
page
18.
18, 998, 999, is it?
Dental.
So that covers when people are out,
All right, what would we have for a number, because I'm not,
line numbers, on the column that Nathan had put in there for you.
998,
998, 999.
Almost at the bottom, Peg. Custodian sub/OT.
These numbers here.
oh, we're doing, and you expect me to read that? I was
I
thinking
actually
the
didn't
actual.
know that was there until I printed it.
Well, that's an Excel spreadsheet, okay, but, yeah. No, I was looking at the actual account number. So it would be the, overtime,
18.
okay, okay.
Yeah, right here. Look at the salary, right here. This one and this one.
Oh, that's right, that's
That's
a
retirement
masking,
FICA.
that's a masking.
Talking about the $6,000?
I now get the masking. All right, so there is no increase in those, but if you add another whole person, I'm just trying to look at from way back.
It's $46,000.
Yeah. So overtime, we're looking at a grand total of, looks like 9,000. But yet you put 47,000 in for a person, and then plus the health and all of that stuff.
That's what that number would represent. A
Yeah.
Fully burdened, is that what a fully burdened person is, Nathan?
Mhm.
Okay.
So anyway, that was just something that I thought we could possibly look at and see how many extra hours people would be required to work, and is it gonna be cheaper?
Also, too, I talked to Nate, one of the things that he was concerned with, as the board was aware of, within the contract of the cafe, they didn't embed the cost of cleaning, which Bob can fully explain.
Right, no, I know,
to
and
you.
that's why we needed somebody, and I'm just thinking,
Well,
That's out now, though,
well,
right?
Nate had said to me, yes, had said to me, I said, well, it'd be $13,000. He thinks possibly we have.
They told me 13,000 to do it this year, yeah.
for
So-
them to do it versus 40-something for a person.
I have a question for Bob.
Right, but he's looking for some extra help, not just do the floors.
For whatever reason, in MES, it seems to be being done with your existing staff.
It's not in the MES contract, it's only in the new contract, from what I understand on that part.
No, it's the same contract.
Well, I thought, I haven't seen the contract, so I thought it was different, that we didn't have a person at MES where contractually, and Newt had to have a person. I didn't-
Well, yeah, well, for whatever reason, it seems that at MES, Bob and John can speak to that it doesn't seem, but Jan said to me that it would be an hour, she feels, and right now, the 1 o'clock person it's being done by them, Bob, is that correct?
Right, I have a person coming in earlier to cover that, so
Yeah.
I've absorbed the work that they're not doing into this year. So at the elementary school, that means, that half hour of time, which might seem insignificant, is taken away from other work that might be done. And at the high school, it's an hour, hour and a half, depending on what goes on in the cafeteria that particular day. So
Nope.
it's an hour and a half to 2 hours a day that I've absorbed into this contract unknowingly, because of that.
Now, what happens to you during the winter months, to your janitors?
In the winter months, it'd be a little bit interesting because it's not uncommon that after lunch at the high school, one of my staff and myself are already outside. And if not already shortly, one of the elementary school staff of mine is outside preparing for people to leave. So I'm not quite sure how that's gonna work out when we get into the winter months.
So they're clearing the walkway and stuff so they can
So,
walk
right,
to
a
the car.
casual observation would say, it seems to fit into the daily routine, which is gonna run amok as soon as we have bad weather.
That's what I figured.
Additionally to that, we end up having things that I like to refer to as creep, where legislature, laws, or whatever change on the fly. We find out about it hopefully via RSAs and the like. And so what we end up doing is ending up having responsibility then of checking all of our fire extinguishers on a monthly basis. And that into that chain, checking all the emergency lights on a monthly basis. So that also is not something that was accounted for in the activities that my staff and I might do within the context of a month's time. But it's a frequency that has to be done on a monthly basis. So records have to be kept for that, which means that I need to verify that work's been done if my team and I are doing it, and then present those records to our local fire department as evidence of that activity. So, I keep on getting those kinds of things that creep in on too, and there's no adjustment for any time on anybody's part to be able to do that work. You just tough it up and do it.
Can I ask a question about your personal time? What part of it is doing paperwork and what part's doing work for you personally? With everything that we've given you, especially the last 2 years have been pretty hectic.
I don't know, it'd be hard to judge, but I mean, before we get into doing a lot of projects, I certainly had more time to do hands-on stuff. I have very little time left over to do that now, without trying to put some numbers on it.
So I think Peg brought up what we're trying to do is we do in each of the areas is look for complete transparency so that the board can make the decisions that they have to make. But as we said, the administrators in each of the areas are gonna go back and then he can ascertain, can this be done by hiring a half-time person? Does he still need, after discussions and so forth, does he need a full-time? Peg brought up some things about overtimes and so forth. So we go back to the drawing board in each of the departments, and assuredly, this is one of the things he's gonna take a look at.
Yeah, I feel like just like with the bus routes, like to look at it, what exactly is one fewer bus route? It's like, well, what exactly are the things that you're thinking about and the hours, and then do a side by side comparison of what overtime and a whole new person looks like.
Well, a little bit about what it comes into play in that too is, as much as my team and I have tried to make the outside of the school have a better appearance, it has been very difficult. And the part that has happened with the last couple of years doing a lot of project work is that used to be a chunk of what I would do in season. In the wintertime, I gotta drop what I'm doing, I'm outside. But the other, late spring, summer, early fall, I would end up having the time to be able to participate and be working outside. And I've had virtually zero time this whole last season, this last, 6 months. to be able
So
to
otherwise
do
you
that.
don't have any free time to cut brush then?
Yeah, I was fortunate to help somebody, Mr. Shute, help beat things back for me this year. And it catches up with you. I mean, people complain about even filling in potholes. I think it happened, I think twice in the spring, John helped me, and once to start school. So there hasn't been like a general hands-on maintenance of that, because there's no time to do that. So expanding the role of what this person would do would give some flex then to be able to take care of those kinds of things that are seasonal and be able to do a better job, and work better, be safer, and so forth. So like I said, I've experienced several things that creeped in on me this year, and a few of us had a discussion and said, well, maybe it's time to revisit this and look at, adding another person into the staff. So that's why we have it before you.
Does anybody have any more questions on this subject? Peg, your
No.
next question?
No, I just wanted to throw it out there as a thought, possible savings.
Good, Bob.
Just one other comment, when you start talking about overtime. There's been one situation with one member on my staff that has been working consistent overtime, and that has been, I guess some glaring eyes put upon that as a person making consistently the time and a half. So if we were, I'm not sure in my own mind how it is that you rationalize to somebody that doesn't understand what's going on behind the scenes, how you pay somebody consistently time and a half every week. It's hard to swallow no matter what, because you never hear the whole story.
Peg?
I'm not sure I understand.
I'd love to elaborate on that, because I already see frowns. So if a person's
Well,
making
no,
$12,
question,
Well,
like,
some of the personnel
$12
is not for
$12
open session.
$12, if somebody's making $12 an hour and they're gonna consistently make the $18, it's gonna get out there that somebody's making $18 an hour. They don't realize that it's part of the time.
oh,
They might
okay,
think
all
it's
right.
all of the time. It
Okay.
creates a lot of confusion.
Okay, I got it now,
People only
thank you.
hear the high dollar amount.
Okay.
Paul?
And I assume that would probably ruffle feathers for other people that work that job, that they're never getting the opportunity to gain that overtime as well. So that could be running into the mud a little bit when it comes to that.
Mhm.
So we have to be careful on that part of it, showing, okay, this person's guaranteed to work overtime every week, and the other people, no, I'm sorry. So
No,
that-
I
that
mean,
could
everybody
be-
should have an opportunity. We
Exactly,
need,
so.
does somebody want to volunteer to work an extra hour a day this week and next week Joe rather than Bob or Harry or
All right, press on, Peg.
what?
Press on.
Press on. What else did I have? Oh, you know me. I've learned so much from the budget committee. I'll quit now
Y'all done?
while I'm ahead.
So, any more on the budget? Do we want to go to the warrant articles?
What are we gonna do, the warrant articles now? You said?
That was for you. This
Yeah,
mean is
yeah.
for you, Paul.
Well, not just
How
for
could-
me,
how
it's
could
for
you fit-
everybody else out here too. It's not
Well,
just
we
for
were gonna
me.
do it, but we were gonna do it when you were gone, then we,
Oh, I would've been angry.
so,
Bob, you're lucky I had no questions. I don't know why yours is reduced.
Because he worked very hard.
Does anybody, I don't know,
He
does,
worked very hard in trying to find areas that students would be well served.
I know, but I mean, that is like the biggie, the thing in town. I mean, we have kids, we cannot, they come in, we cannot not take care of them. End of
Small
discussion.
school, limited
Yeah.
space, limited facilities.
so do we,
Sometimes we gotta do what we gotta do.
so do we want to excuse him? We're not gonna need him.
You wanna go home?
One thing, we gotta look at the one, if we're looking at warrants, one of them applies to him, which we can look at first.
Well, we
One we
can
always
just
do,
ask
right?
for
Yeah.
more
We
money,
always do that.
that's,
Yeah, we always put that
we
the
always
first.
put that one
Yeah,
in.
So,
The one that, okay, so.
And then they ask why we're doing it.
What they're saying,
Well, we put in the
basically,
warrant
they're saying that they will do it, that they will do the warrant.
Sweet, thanks, guys.
Now, what warrant are
we
we,
roll over any.
I know we're
negotiating.
Special ed reserve.
I don't want you to leave and then find
Special
out
ed
that you do
reserve.
the warrant.
we lost that last year.
I know.
Yeah, we did
we
not
always put it
get
in
the
though.
money last year.
So how much we want to put in?
But
You want to do that the first one, people?
Yeah,
Well, let me ask him a question. You just mentioned a student transitioning, an out-of-district placement,
Mm-hmm.
okay? What does it cost the town for that out-of-district placement?
Which one?
Any one of them.
Anywhere between 50 and 200 grand.
Okay? So without a reserve, and we have another student that moves in, something else happens,
We have a reserve of about one student, yeah, I see what you're saying.
so the town could actually have to fork over that money if we don't have the reserve. For one, that's just one student, never mind if we have multiple students that come in with it, that need out-of-district placements.
Okay.
that is probably your most important warrant article.
Okay,
A school very, very near here that went into debt in that area of $400,000.
okay, all right.
That speaks for itself. I'm sorry.
So how much do we want to put into it, and what do we want to,
We always, don't we normally put in 50? Or
we
request
want
50?
$50,000?
Yes.
Now, my next question, do we want to take it from the reserve, balance at the end of the year if we have any left?
That's what we usually do, yeah. from the
Surplus,
Is
yeah.
that what we want to do?
Yes.
Can I have a motion and a second on
motion.
the amount? And then
Second.
we
Make a
take-
motion to put $50,000 into that fund based on any money that is left over at the end of the, what'd you say, out of the
Surplus.
surplus? Thank you.
If we have any surplus this year.
That's right.
And I seconded it.
The two Ps?
Yep.
And
Okay,
explain when we write it up that it's no additional tax increase.
in bold letters,
Very bold.
Bold.
red letters, red letters. Take up the whole page.
Neon.
It costs more money for Reddit. Let's go with it.
I'll donate it. Highlight it with a marker. Any more discussion on that one?
Nope.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All right, thank you.
So,
That one's
so
done.
we're officially on the warrant articles now, right?
Yes, we
Are
are.
we gonna go like we usually have? Number one is budget.
Of course, yeah, it always go that
Number
way.
two is contract, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we doing that other question about the contract? Is there a special meeting, blah, blah, blah?
Do we want to do it or do we
Last
don't?
year.
Okay, so number three is gonna be the 5,000 for the library.
Oh, okay, all right. Wait a minute, library?
It's just going through it really quickly, I guess.
Well, because it's, those three are the same every single,
Yeah.
well, give or take the contract. but
No, we want to do that out of the fund balance, or we want to go straight on?
Library has always been straight, and it's
Straight.
5K.
Straight 5K.
Yeah.
Out of the special warrant article?
Yeah.
Special warrant articles to appropriate 5,000 for the.
Okay, all right, we got that one.
It's gonna cost you.
Doesn't matter if it comes third or fourth, it'll be separate than the other ones. What do you want for three?
That was 3.
That was number.
No, I mean technically, no, I know we're
I
talking
know
about.
the budget, yeah.
Yeah, I want to know,
Oh, for just warrant
warrant
articles?
articles, that's what I'm after.
Well, I know we do the surplus, we do the building maintenance and renovate, the maintenance fund, because that's way low this year. Where's that fund balance?
It's going to be $100,000.
Maintenance fund.
It's not correct on the paper.
It's not correct on this?
No, that's what we get back.
Oh, okay.
You don't have a copy of that.
All right.
It's roughly 100,000.
Okay.
Because you gotta, right now, presently, we have 128,000 in there? Is that right?
Is that what it is, Nathan? 128?
Yeah, it's around there.
We gotta pay, right now, sitting on the books pending, remember that word that nobody likes?
Yeah.
I think we got 98,000 we have to take out of that 28.
Yes.
Of 128?
Instead of
128.
60
For
going
what?
into it.
No.
With pending things that gotta be subtracted from that 128.
All right, but that does not include the 60.
No, I haven't got there yet.
Okay, all
So
right.
it's about
come-
90,000.
Okay.
Okay, then you'd add the 60 in.
Yeah, so adding the 60 is gonna be about 90.
$90,000 you're gonna have in that renovation fund.
How much was the warrant article last year?
What do we
We did
want?
60 last year.
Because we were down.
Right.
Yeah.
So 50 this year?
Typically it's 50.
50 this year?
No, we wanna do that one special warrant article?
based on surplus.
Surplus?
That's the second one. Once special ed is done, then it rolls to that.
Surplus, okay, I have no problem with that.
Is that the only one you need Bob for? So could he go after this?
No,
Yeah, let Bob
I want the
and Rob
next one
go.
out. Rob can go,
Rob,
if you'd like to go.
Bob can go.
Godspeed, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very
much.
excellent job.
Have a good one, guys.
We can change it around, but
Thanks,
I
Bob.
would like to make a trust fund, creating a vehicle fund, 10-year plan under the CIP, and put $10,000 in it each year. Starting this year with $10,000.
Now, what is, that's separate from the bus fund?
Do you mean for the
Yes.
plow truck?
Because we have a bus fund now, right?
That's separate.
So
This
we
is for
got,
maintenance vehicles. Because remember, a couple of years ago, we tried to add the maintenance vehicles to the bus, and they said no.
which I don't understand why, but yes, I do remember it.
Yeah.
We do this, then every year,
Won't be in here.
or every 5 years, we can roll over a plow
I was
truck
wondering
or
what-
the 1-ton. If we want to do it every 5 years, we can do it every 7 years. It's up to the board.
Would you say trust fund creating a what?
Vehicle maintenance fund.
What was our warrant article last year with no money? It was just,
The
He did
warrant
have
articles
a,
with no money, that was to like to separate the treasure,
yeah.
the secretary and all that
Yes,
kind
for
of stuff.
3-year terms.
no, this
Yeah, the
was,
secretary, the treasurer.
right, that one,
and
but it was also
Clerk.
to combine.
The clerk, me. No.
No, that was the
No,
previous
it
year.
was the moderator. the
Pass this down to
treasurer.
Peg, Emily, please, so she can.
Technically, I think it passed, but.
I have a question.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
So about doing the, combining the vehicles, what's the public's opinion on that? It failed a couple years ago. We tried to add maintenance vehicles into the bus fund, and it failed. Why do you think that is?
It probably looked like you were trying to put more in. Like, I feel like the truck failed last year because of the wording of it. Like, I feel like if the truck was, we're looking at this specific truck under this specific budget, but instead it was, we would like up to this much to do a truck. So I feel like if it was a little more specific, it would have passed. So maybe combining the things, just being more specific with it. You know, we'd like to add this much more under this line with the intent of it being used for whatever.
Mr. Gagner, how do you think we could make that pass this year? Not done calling you out, but you were a staunch opponent on Facebook last year, so I want your opinion. If we could roll all the school vehicles into
Not the
one
buses.
rotating,
I don't want the buses in this fund.
well, the buses already have a
I
fund.
still don't understand why Department of Public Works can't take care of the parking lot.
Separate,
That's
total
a-
separate.
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
hill I'll die on, though.
Bob can answer that.
What's that?
Bob can answer that.
In order for them to actually do that, they would need more people because we run in the same time slot to do that clearing.
And we already did that study. We proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's more economical for us to do our own plowing. And he does his own heavy equipment. If we bring people in to do heavy equipment work, it's a minimum of $75 an hour to move snowbanks
Yeah,
backwards.
we got two bids, it was like, what, 13,000 or something like that to do, I can't remember what it was, but
What,
we
for
had
the plowing?
two contract bids for the plowing, and they were like way
I
up
thought it
there.
was
We
like
still have
16.
it somewhere. I don't
Yeah, I
remember off
sent
the top of my
them,
head how much
but
it
I
was.
sent them to
But
Bob.
the
You
question
asked for them,
is,
Bob.
does the public feel that those things could be combined? That was the question that started all this.
We can't even, how's it
But
gonna
we
there
don't
work?
even have
benefits
time
with
to
being
sand the
remote?
sidewalks, never mind the entire parking lot.
We can't even
You
get
know?
Do the
a,
same time slot.
how's it gonna work? We
No.
can't even get a plow truck. How are we gonna get it by putting it in with the buses? That ain't gonna work.
No, what's the benefit of putting all of the money into the one fund? Why can't we have a transportation one and a maintenance one? Like, what's the benefit of having it
I
combined,
just
Paul?
suggest yet another trust fund for yet
Oh, I
another
know, but I just
reason
don't understand the
when
benefit of
it's
it.
all, any school vehicle can be covered under that umbrella. That's all I'm saying, can be, like, when I don't have a pickup truck fund and a car fund and a
maybe
motorcycle
the-
fund, I have a fund.
Maybe taxpayers feel like without it being named like that, it gives us a little
And
bit
why
too
can't we
much
do the
freedom.
same thing with the town? The highway department, the police department, and everybody else, the town only have one fund. They each have their own individual trust funds. So I don't see no logic in one trust fund for the school, because the town is totally separate. They're the ones that went to Pat Smith, and he's the one that suggested to do this for the maintenance trucks.
What about the surplus of vehicles that already exist in town, like the police truck that's just been sitting out there since last year?
Police truck?
They're the old
Uh-uh.
police truck. Is that something that could be reappropriated?
Police truck.
Yeah,
I can
the
answer that.
SUV
They are
that's sitting right
used-
out here.
I know, but I wanted to get Doug's attention so I could speak to you. May I speak to him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. There are two vehicles that are part of the town now because people were using their own vehicles and charging transportation and mileage. So when Chief Kraus replaced his new cruisers, or with the new cruisers, they got them. So
Fair enough.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's been one of the things that people keep mentioning is just that, oh, there seems to be excess vehicles and, you know, everyone's always asking for another vehicle, so if there's a good, clear explanation for it, that's definitely making
And I
sense.
think every truck we have now with a plow on it for the town is being used for town. That's why they gave us that old pounded one that now it's in the garage with oil leaks. There's nothing else that we could reappropriate. The other one, the black truck we had, got towed to scrap because it won't even run anymore and the frame was broke, so.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we start a trust fund for maintenance vehicles for the school and put $10,000 in it to start the trust fund this year.
I appreciate the explanation.
Maintenance or?
Maintenance vehicles.
Oh, maintenance vehicle.
That's gonna be the 2 plow trucks only.
Okay.
And then put $10,000. And then, what the cost, if we, every 5 years rotate those, they're about, maybe about $50,000 each, every 5-year period. Is that agreeable to you, Bob? Or is that bad or good?
Yeah, if we do 10 per year, we can look at when we need to do the replacement based on wear and tear, much like Tim does, and whatever other issues we have that year for expenditures. That would help.
That'll eliminate us from having a 19-year-old plow truck anymore, so that's good.
And that'd be
Seconding.
10,000.
I didn't second, I just agreed.
Yeah.
So-
Who seconded it?
Seconded it, yeah.
I did.
Oh, Milton, thank you, I'm sorry.
Just to go against you.
That's okay.
Get it done. Now, my next question is, we ought to make this guaranteed every year. Probably shouldn't take it out of the surplus.
What do you mean guaranteed?
Instead of taking it out of the surplus, we take it, make it a special warrant, get the $10,000 each year. We're gonna be guaranteed we're doing this each year. If we don't have the money in the surplus at the end of the year, we're not gonna be able to achieve our goal. And this schedule will go into the town's CIP. See what I'm saying? And we got it, I agree with Peg.
Yes.
People, I want to tell you, you got a couple people on this board that we got to do the CIP for the buses and get it onto the CIP. You just got to have the time to do it. Somebody else would like to take it on the board, I'm willing to pass it on to them, but it's going to take time. So what do we want to do with that $10,000? Take it out of surplus or make it
No,
part
I
of
think I agree with you.
That's a standalone warrant.
standalone warrant special?
Yep. It'll
That'll be part of my motion.
I'll second that.
No, I was adding
sorry.
it.
Emily
So
already
it's
did.
right, standalone or special?
Put down special.
Okay.
The $10,000 each year. We'll put it on next year. Okay, do I have any more discuss, anybody have any questions on it in the audience? Any explanation? Anybody understand why we're doing it?
I think it would be beneficial to explain that it's a maintenance vehicle and not put it in a warrant article as a plow truck, because I feel
No,
like
it is-
that was
It
a
says
big-
maintenance vehicle, that's what he,
That's what I
Maintenance
said.
vehicle, capital reserve, right?
Gotcha.
Well, we'll write it correctly, so
Yeah,
that'll be in
well,
it.
Last year with putting plow truck on there, it limits it to that one season. I feel like that's what people got mind block over. And then we had to go and re-explain over and over again that it's more than just a plow truck, so.
So, any more discussion? Any more hands? Is that good, Bob? Okay. Peg?
Aye.
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 Okay. That's 4. Do we want any more?
You know my answer to that, man.
Well, if you don't want any more, I am happy
1, 2, 3,
with these
and
4.
this
Is everything covered with those warrant articles?
budget.
This assumes we're putting the
contract.
bus under the N in the budget?
Well, may have to talk about that one after.
So that's a question.
We may have a 5th one.
Peg's
Alright.
having a.
May I mean, I have more than 4, but the budget,
When-
the CBA, the library, the building and maintenance,
Yeah.
we do
Special
have
ed.
the bus
Transportation.
transportation for the bus, that's, and we always take something out of that. We have the special ed, and now we're doing a maintenance vehicle fund.
I only show 4
Oh, wait.
right now.
He's not counting the budget part of it, the first one.
I'm not counting, Peg, I'm only counting the ones after the teacher's warrant.
Okay, so I put the library, building and maintenance, transportation,
I got special ed, that was first. Got the library for $5,000.
yep.
We got the renovation, now I have the maintenance truck created.
All right, we also have transportation, I don't know if we wanted to do that, I mean, I was just writing them down as what we had before.
Transportation,
That's to add the bus capital reserve, is
Right.
that one?
Right,
do we want to do that? I have no problem.
Yes.
That'll be fine.
yeah,
How much do you want to add to it?
What we usually do.
Is that the one you want to take the van out of or the bus out of?
I think
I-
we've done 25.
How much?
I think we've
25,
seen
yeah.
25. I don't
So you
know.
want the bus trust fund?
Wait,
I'm looking,
no,
oh,
technology was 25.
technology, yeah, that was,
I'm not, let's get past the
So
bus.
15, it was 15.
You want to put 15 in that one,
That's
Peg?
what it's been in the past.
what, for the bus?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to talk about, is the bus?
No, I was gonna go back to the other one, the library one.
Go ahead.
I'm on the library board of trustees. Did we send anyone to ask for that warrant article?
They
this
always
year?
ask for it every year.
Yeah, we didn't send somebody this year to try to help with the school budget, because our finances are a little separate, so we
We,
didn't
I've never had
send
someone
anyone to
ask me
ask
about it.
specifically, so that didn't fall on the school.
one year we did not put it in. And
That
then
was my first year on the board.
and we heard about it,
Oh,
okay?
they can, if you want to put it through, by all means, I just want it to show that nobody from the board of trustees, the library board of trustees.
Do you,
came
you
back
want us to
for
take it out? You're a trustee.
I am.
So what do you want us to take it out or leave it in?
I feel that the library will be okay without it affecting your budget based on our finances for this upcoming year. And nobody from the library board of trustees came to the board, and that falls on the library board of trustees, not the school.
How many are there of you on the trust? How many?
Eight of us right now. We
Can
have
can
one
you
right-
get back to us? Can you get back to us on that one?
I can.
Because I don't want them to,
I'll shoot on an email tonight, but at our second to last meeting, we discussed not sending somebody to ask for it just because.
we left it off one year and we caught it.
Yes, ever.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
discussed it as a board specifically to help the school get more of the actual school stuff passed, because what it is, the history of it is, it originally started as asking the school to match whatever the board of trustees put towards
Yeah.
books and literature. We're in the process right now of looking at new furniture and stuff like that. That's part of the board of trustees' responsibility. And in doing so, we need to weed out a lot of the books and update stuff. So one of the things that was discussed at the library board of trustees meetings was not going forward with the warrant article this year, A, to help the school present fewer things with the hopes of getting the school more money and not necessarily that. And B, because we're in a restructure moment ourselves in trying to modernize and update the peeling tables and furniture in there, because that's our part of the contract between the school district and the library board of trustees.
Go ahead.
Just want to make sure that I'm asking that if we take this warrant article off, that will not harm the library at this juncture.
Correct, because that is extra money that is matched to other stuff.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead, get your hand up.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna say two things. Number one, that's kind of been, since I have lived here, number one warrant article, 5,000, and every year it passes.
Yeah.
The second thing is, I know Jan had some stuff in here for the library. Did you guys look at that?
She
Who
had
would
a bunch of new
library be?
stuff.
Pardon?
She had a bunch of new stuff now.
Yeah, for the library.
So there's a difference between, furniture and school supplied stuff. I know.
Hers was furniture. I'm trying to remember what she had to
Computer cart.
say.
Oh, the
Computer cart.
Computer cards should be covered by the chairs. If they're for the school,
computers.
for the computers, then that's not covered. Where the library board of trustees, according to the current contract, is responsible for like the middle tables, the big shelves, like the public use type of stuff. But those computers, as you walk right in, those are school computers. So the chairs were for those computers. That's not the library board of trustees. That would fall under the school.
We also, that's a question we'll have to ask.
I will shoot out an email
Okay.
tonight, and then based off the responses I'll get, I will call you tomorrow,
You can,
or email several of you.
Peg and Nate, you could,
Okay.
I mean Earl and Nate.
Yeah,
But
did you
it
see?
was discussed, yes.
Okay.
It was discussed at the library board of trustees meeting in order to help the school possibly get more passed by the town, to not have that on there. Just one less thing, and we can get through a year without that, the village structure that we're
Well-
looking at.
Thank you.
So I will shoot out just to get a second answer tonight, and then I will respond tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So that'll bring us down to 5.
We still have to vote aye on the bus, on the 15.
Well, I haven't decided where you want to take it out of, how you want to do it. Out of surplus or straight,
What?
special warrant article.
Which one?
For the 15 for the buses.
Do I have a motion on that one?
Has it been?
I'll make a motion, we take $15,000 out.
Out of what?
We spent,
15.
we spend 15,000, but we gotta determine where we want it from. Do I have a second?
I don't know. We already said 15.
Yeah.
I gotta know where we want it from. We wanna take it from the surplus or
First,
or
that's what I'm
special
I think in the
warrant?
past we
Yeah,
did
I know, I'm
surplus,
trying to
right?
find it. I don't know.
Transportation you're talking about? Yes, it's always been the surplus.
Surplus.
Surplus?
In the
Okay.
past, it's been surplus.
That's the third one after special ed and building and maintenance.
Then who made the original motion then? Yeah.
I did,
Maybe I seconded it? Did it?
think so.
I didn't have anybody.
You didn't have
Well, you
anybody.
do
I
now.
had nobody.
I'd written down nobody.
I had nobody. to-
Nobody?
So
Myself and
Paul
Peg.
and Peg.
Papa.
Now I do.
Take 15,000 out of surplus.
End of year surplus.
That'll be the third article under surplus.
Yeah,
Oh,
Special ed's always priority.
yeah, okay.
Third or?
Wow.
Third one out of surplus, special ed,
Surplus.
building and maintenance,
That's
and
for
then
the bus
bus.
trust
Almost
fund,
set, thank you.
correct?
Yes, yeah, surplus.
One?
I
After the
have so
initial.
many things going around, my head is going, I don't know
Only
where this
listen.
is going.
Only listen to me.
I know. Can we?
Is that it?
So I ain't called the vote yet.
Oh, sorry.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now, do we want any more? Are we all
I
set?
don't
Can
wanna
you go
write
through them
anymore.
again in order, please?
I'm sorry?
Could
Can we
you
recap?
Okay.
What do you want to
Yeah, I
know?
know, right?
Budget,
Budget,
teacher's contract,
Are we doing a special meeting for the CBA or no?
special ed.
No,
no.
Yes.
no,
Yes, Peg wants one?
no.
How about we let the
Let's
negotiators
just
call it?
stay on this one topic, please. Budget, CBA, special ed.
5,000.
Nope.
No,
Oh,
Not
leave
doing
that off,
library.
excuse me.
He's gonna
sorry.
let us know, but that's tentative.
It's a maybe.
We just crossed it off.
And
Renovation,
then put a question mark at the end of it.
Renovation,
maintenance trucks,
There.
trust
All
fund.
right, guys, special ed, transportation, maintenance, and then, the building maintenance, and then the
bus
maintenance
fund, and then
vehicle.
the, yeah,
Yes,
bus
for
fund
the
and then maintenance vehicle.
Maintenance vehicle, yeah.
We gotta keep all the surplus ones together, so we can't have two
This is for the
surplus, then throw in a trust fund, and then do another
Surplus or
surplus.
last?
Surplus are gonna be last, so.
Us.
All right,
and
so
then
this is really one, this is really
1,000.
two, this is really three,
Oh,
and this is
yeah.
really four. Okay. You get that?
No.
So this is
Do
what
it again.
number? I'll just ask
Okay.
you.
All right, budget,
I'm okay, I'll
CBA,
ask you.
special.
So this is going to be, this is gonna cost
Okay,
you money,
yep, yep.
and then it's gonna be special ed.
Maintenance and then vehicle maintenance, right?
Well, it's maintenance vehicle, this is just one vehicle, let's just call it vehicle at this point. It's
Oh,
maintenance
yeah, yeah,
vehicle,
yeah.
All right, and then sped, and then transportation, and then building and maintenance, these are all out of the surplus.
Okay.
Sped, building maintenance, and transportation in that order.
So you have it the other way.
Good. Transportation,
Sped comes before it all.
the bus one is the last one. Sped and building maintenance come
And that's how I
before.
have it.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we doing technology? Because we're going to be doing.
Yes. I think
We're
so.
going to be requesting money next month, actually maybe the month after, and it's gonna pretty much draw that down.
So if if we don't do the 5,000 for library, 5,000 for technology fund?
Ten,
Give me
maybe.
those later, right?
Well,
I'm
Peg-
all confused.
Would five, that's a viable idea, is it, would 5,000 be good?
It'll help, yeah.
But I think it needs to be 10, quite honestly. I mean, because the list that we've had, just computers are dying. And I know you have a recycle thing, 3-year plan, that's what it
That
is.
second one
Oh, there you go.
is what we're gonna draw down on,
Yeah,
and then his third year is in this budget currently.
The laptops have already gone up. We're gonna be getting
Yeah.
those. Yeah, prices are going up.
so technology,
They're about 800 apiece. We're looking at
820?
820. It's just,
How many do you need this year?
well, it was 10. It was 30 computers in all. I think it was 1099 or something like that. Was
Okay.
so it's like 9. But we won't be able to get that. But
So say,
10?
roll over from whatever surplus, 10,000 into the technology fund. That'll be the fourth surplus rollover,
How many did you say? How much?
10.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
That'll be the final warrant article.
Well,
No, there's another one. Motion.
Nate's got a couple more, it's mine.
I'm not even gonna mention my usual one, because you guys always shoot it down. But I need to bring.
Can I get past
What
this
is
one?
Yep, go
We haven't,
ahead.
we haven't voted on this
Oh.
one. So we, agreement, technology, 10,000, surplus.
Sure.
Paul?
Aye.
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 Okay, now go ahead, Nate.
Sorry. Back in September 11th, actually, the board had already voted to do the $10,000 maintenance vehicle warrant article, but also for the plow truck as well.
Yeah, we're gonna withdraw that one.
That's all I need.
Okay.
If it's to be
Well,
withdrawn, I need that.
if you wanna take a chance, that's all right.
Nope.
No problem.
Withdraw it.
Well, you have a pickup truck?
Do I have a pickup truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, with a plow.
See, there you go.
Want to buy it?
No, we'll borrow it.
I'll buy it.
Okay, go ahead, I know what you're gonna, I got your,
Just as rough as the one we just junked.
this article you're talking about, I'll pass that down to you.
So, can I get a motion to rescind that, though?
I make a motion to rescind the
I'll
warrant
second
article for the plow truck.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? Paul?
Aye.
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 Cool, thanks.
Peg?
Aye.
Peg, what are you reading it for? You the one that
Can you
gave it to me.
please reiterate what that was?
Rescinding it.
Rescind the what?
The
Plow
warrant
truck.
article for a plow truck.
We
Thank
did that,
you.
we did back in September, yes.
You take my paperwork, Peg?
Pass it back.
Do you want to mention the one you never mentioned? Or
I was passing it
I
down.
wanna know what it is.
No, it's going down to Nate, so you get the right.
Oh,
I want to know what it is.
It wasn't for Peg.
What's the thing you always mention, Nate?
It's the contingency fund.
Oh no, that's
Basically,
stupid. I'm just
it's-
kidding, I don't even know what it is.
Basically, it's if we end up going into a deficit for whatever reason, especially special ed, we still need to come up with some sort of revenue for that deficit, and this is how you do it. Like, because we can't by law have have it be raised by taxation. It has to be from another source of funds. So that's where this comes in. Basically, it's a percentage of the surplus that you would give back to the town, you would keep it. But you only keep it for that year. So if you don't spend it, it goes back to the town the next year, and then you do the process over.
So you have it on there every year then,
Yes.
as a warrant article.
No, the warrant article is to put it in place. You only have to do that once. But on the MS-25, it'll be on that.
We determine what amount You determine by the calculations of what's left at the end of the year. Now, where would it take priority of the ones on the surplus? We take the other three.
That's a
Who-
question I would need to have answered.
Who's come first? Who's
Yeah.
on second? and third?
Right. I would need to ask Gordon that.
Okay. Yeah, people understand what he's saying?
I don't think so.
You're the one that gave it to me.
I know, but it took me a while to figure out what
You
that
gave it
was
to me,
all
Nick.
about.
I got a copy from you, and now
I
you're
know.
questioning it?
Because what
She was trying to
happened,
take the credit for it too.
In other words, you don't know what it's about? It was Peg's idea, people, it wasn't mine.
Whatever the board.
No, it
Peg's
wasn't
idea.
Peg's, it was mine.
Well,
right.
Peg gave it to me.
I will tell you the background on this. There were many questions on the Facebook about why does the school district keep giving back money to the town, and then we have a budget the following year asking for more money. Why can't we keep the money? Well, it's a state law that we have to give any unused money back to the town. According to Nathan, we have this, what is it, the MS-25, the DR-64, whatever it is, MS-25, a report that needs to be done very soon after the close of the year, our fiscal year. We cannot just say, oh my gosh, we're going to be giving back, $150 billion. Let's go out and buy something, because we may not get the invoice and pay for that particular item by the time we have to do that report. So I found something that we actually can do something about it. But the town has to, it has to be a warrant article, and the town has to vote that we can keep a certain amount of money at the end of the year, rather than giving it all back to the town and then continuing to ask for money. So, anyway, so that's what that was. I just didn't.
Well, keep in mind, we can't spend that money unless there's a deficit. We can't just keep it and spend it on what we want.
I can.
Just got that on tape.
I didn't say that either.
I did. I said that.
Can I have that paperwork back?
I understand the concept, but I don't think it's gonna fly.
Well, I don't know.
Because
According
after we
to-
asked to fill the coffers of this reserve and that reserve and this reserve based on surplus, now we can give a little bit back to the town to offset the surplus money we took and help offset the tax rate a little, or we can just keep the rest in case there's a deficit. Not gonna fly unless it's really, really explained well. It's not going to fly.
Well, one of the things that I kept adding to my reply to people was, you know what? If the state legislature would pass a law that we could keep the money, there would be many districts in the state that would be very happy.
I mean, we wouldn't have the problems we have.
No.
Oh, by the way, the town is getting more money too. We did find that out also.
Next year,
Yeah.
more or less. We
I
don't
I
know.
was told about the same amount,
Okay.
74,000.
So what are we doing on this?
Yeah.
It's up to you. It's up to you, it's the board.
It's up to all of us, Doug.
Well,
You keep saying it's up to us, but you,
Well, it is.
you need to be part of that.
I will be.
I just feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't
Bring it up.
mention it every year. That's all.
So that's what we're paying
It's
him
totally
for.
up to you guys.
That's what we're paying him for. Go ahead.
I just want to clarify that it is only if there was a deficit.
Correct.
So if this were an warrant article, the money would be held back. If there's not a deficit, then the following year it would be returned.
It 100% goes back. We do the calculations again, so it wouldn't roll over. That money would go back, but there'd be a new calculation depending on where we were financially for the next year.
Right. So in theory, if there were not a deficit, it would still be returned to the town,
Yes.
just not.
Not as quickly
Not
as
as
they would like,
quickly.
probably.
A year
And
later.
then,
Yep.
so I think it makes sense to do.
So they only
Because
feel it hurt the
it
first year.
covers you if there's a deficit, and then if there's not a deficit, it still goes back to the town.
Right.
I think if it's explained well, I agree with Paul, it definitely
Explained
needs to be
well.
explained well. It needs to be, I almost wanna say not specifically written, but generically, understandably written. just not too wordy, just point blank say, this covers us if there's a deficit. If there is not a deficit,
You get it back.
then it returns to the town, period. It makes sense to do, because if there's not a deficit, it's gonna cut out of all that other stuff.
Yeah.
If we
And then
explain it well, it'll,
How much would you put in there?
2.5% of what Chamberlain, I think, something like that.
Well, the maximum is 2.5% of your assessed value, so we would never reach that much.
You know, it's like $1 billion that we could have.
Yeah, it's
My-
a lot.
Follow
It's like
up would
10.
be would that 2.5% be before those other things or after those other things?
We've got to ask that question.
I
It'd
would
have to
need
be after.
clarification on
I would
that.
say after everything.
We
It's
have
gotta
a-
be-
We have a phone call set up with Gordon about the default, so I'll piggyback that question when we talk to him.
Okay, that would be kind of my curiosity, because if you're doing it before and then putting into those funds versus putting into those funds and then take what's left, do the
Right.
whatever percent,
Well,
Yeah, that's a good
Right.
question.
yeah, good question.
Yeah.
that would be one of the things as a taxpayer that I would wanna know.
would you even have to put an amount in?
I don't know.
You know, I mean, I guess that's the question, is just kind of set up, do you approve that if we have money left, we keep it for a year and then give it back to you the following year if we don't need it?
My
I don't know.
thought is it's after everything's said and done.
Right, that's what I'm
And
saying.
whatever that amount up to that 2.5%, we can keep.
Yep,
And if we don't use it, we give it all back the
Right,
next year.
right.
But it isn't just for special education.
What's that?
It's not
Oh.
just for special ed.
No,
No, it's just as an
Emergency
example.
expenditures.
yeah, no, it's everything, anything.
Yeah, it's an emergency,
Yeah.
Right.
like the power truck breaks down, you know? Go ahead.
Hi, Travis, in case y'all don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you-
they give me a place.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this. You get this account, now who's to say you're not gonna control your spending, so you can spend it?
Purposely going to a deficit so
Right.
we can grab that, so we keep the
Correct.
money.
Yeah, there we go.
But see, but that,
That's one of the things I was bringing up.
Control that.
We can't legally spend more than what's appropriated each year.
Then how
We
would you ever go
can't.
into a deficit?
Because if we don't get, for the biggest example is we don't get enough, as much revenue as we anticipated.
Okay.
So we legally can't spend more than what you guys tell us each year.
has to be an emergency.
And with the public hearing and all that other
Like
stuff.
fire alarm panels.
That would, yeah, if we went down and we're gonna close the school, that would be an emergency.
I think a lot of, excuse me, I think a lot of thought needs to go into this. There's
This
a lot
one?
of- As you just brought out, there's a lot of political ramifications. This is the first night, the rest of the board, Peg and Nate have discussed it, I've seen it, Doug has seen it. But I think that the board needs to process it and digest it, because it's an important decision to make, just like you said on these other things. This is what the extra workshop is for, to present these things.
And I wholly believe what he's saying is a good thing, but you just need one person saying that, and it instantly villainizes it. So it has to be explained, the rules have to be explained, the limits and laws have to be explained, saying, oh, okay, well, hey, we got, next to, $150,000 in there. Oh, fire alarm might have, it shut off for a couple hours last week, emergency, and blow the money. That's, I'd be paranoid about that too if that was what was
What
coming
we
in
need
front
to
of
do is
me.
make copies of this, December
So,
13th.
valid point.
And hand it out to every, but you see, another thing that hurts us, and let's think into this, your budget committee actually hurts you when they look at your budget every year. They say to you, oh, you've got this much money left over at the end of last year, you had 50,000 left over for something, and you didn't spend it, so they're gonna take it away from you. So what happens the following year, I'm not pointing at you specifically, but the people, what happens to the department that looks at this, they say, oh, I'm not gonna give this money back, so I'm gonna spend it all.
Right.
There's a double-edged sword there. And
People gotta go
your
to-
budget committee's actually hurting you.
I understand.
Yeah.
that
But I like
change
what you
is
say.
bad. I understand that. But,
We can make copies for the 13th and pass them out.
okay, I'm just giving you the
People can read it.
worrying stance on
Yeah, go
Pardon
ahead.
me? What was you saying?
The Facebook Warriors stand talking.
Yeah, I know what you're
I
saying.
actually, I had the same thought, Travis. It makes
It's true,
sense.
though.
I don't
It's
consider
true.
you to be the tr-
And I'm,
the
you know,
Facebook
unfortunately,
warrior, by the way.
80% of the Facebook warriors won't come in here and get the explanation, they'll just run with it.
Well,
So
I
that's why I want to make sure that we can put it out, hey, these are the 5 things right here that we cannot, and we, you know, we can't just do.
I mean, I was coaching volleyball, I couldn't attend the meeting, so I guess I became a Facebook warrior for a little bit with following the meetings that are done online, and then sent my husband in to do the dirty work, but.
And isn't that what usually
Monster in
happens?
that.
So-
But I think,
Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead.
think there
Alex.
needs to be, just clarification and
100% agree.
simplicity, but, you know, bringing up those points, because there are things that I won't think of tonight, but I'll think of in a few days, and I'll put them out there.
November 13th is the next meeting, so write them down.
Perfect.
December 13th.
Yeah, send it to us, don't put it on Facebook,
13th
okay?
's already gone.
Al?
Wasn't there?
Tammy,
I just want to put out that when I used to go and vote for these things, I didn't understand what you guys are saying, what's put down.
Totally.
And I still don't. I do because I come here, but there's people out there that don't understand the wording. I don't. But I just wanted to
That's why
put
you
it out
really
there
have
that, yeah.
to simplify the warrant articles and all
Exactly.
that.
I know that you have to put legally, you have to put
John.
things in, but
I'm gonna what Travis said. In my experience, when you put money in that's not designated for a specific thing, that's gonna cause the questions. This is specified for a rainy day, emergency, whatever. But those are the things that are gonna cause the questions, and I think you've got some pretty black and white, warrant articles. We need a truck, we need this, we need that, whatever. This is gonna go for computers, that's gonna go for special ed. Very simple. This could muddy the waters, and I just think that coming off a year where we had a default, I think people are starting to see the needs. And my personal opinion is don't rock the boat with something that's not specified for a specific, this is what it's gonna be for.
I
And
think
all those
that,
other
I
questions.
think our
That's my
battles, I think less is more. We need to choose our battles. We need to build success on success, and the board has to make some prioritization on what we're gonna go after, what we're gonna clarify, what's gonna be succinct. You can't put out forest fires. This isn't, we need to be succinct, we need to pick our battles, and we need to prioritize and go after the things that we need to go, because we have a lot of explaining to do in order to get these things passed. And I'm glad people are bringing things up,
Are we
because
voting that tonight?
that's what a workshop is.
Are we voting that tonight or not?
No.
Okay.
Do people want to vote that tonight or what?
No.
Okay, good.
Okay. I think we ought to get it out there and make some copies and let people read it. Yes, Peg?
I forgot.
You want me to pass you down
It's your
another?
birthday.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Nate
I'm
next.
the only one that raised his hand and he always ignored me.
What
Well,
was
she's
not
like,
today?
your hand was in the way.
He
You were.
recognized me. Anyway, I wanted to clarify, December 11th is the next meeting, not the 13th.
It's gonna be like that yes/no vote. Everybody's gonna show up, nobody's gonna be there.
Well, I figured it's on camera, we should probably get it right.
Get it right, okay, thanks.
Right.
I should look at it.
it is.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say.
I think I put it on my calendar.
I remember it now.
It is the 13th? I said the 11th.
I'm old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the 13th is a Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're right. Oh, that's.
11th is a Wednesday.
Now, do you remember what you said, Peg?
What I wanted to say, not what I said, but what I wanted to say. I'm just thinking this year, because A, we were on a default budget, B, our warrant articles were just all rejected. I mean, something like this, in case we did end up having some sort of an emergency, we could certainly use. I don't know. I mean, I saw it and I went, ooh, ooh. And Nate was already aware of it, I know that.
Well,
so.
Call Nate.
Nate, I'm sorry. go ahead.
I agree, we should get more information, get all the questions answered, and then you guys can decide.
Deal.
So, but definitely in December, we're not meeting Christmas Day, which is the 25th.
Why not?
Okay, all right.
I thought you were committed.
All right, is that good for warrant?
I think Peg had brought one other issue up, and I think we overlooked it. Peg, when you get done, you want to check with poor Tammy, because she couldn't keep up with all your arrangements, and I couldn't either.
We're all over the place here. I don't know what's
We always
1,
are
2,
with the
3,
stuff.
5, 6.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
excuse me,
No,
1,
you don't have
2,
to tell me now, but you
2,
can
2,
email me.
3, 3,
No, no, Peg.
4, 4, 5, 5.
You can email
Now,
me.
you brought up another question. We're gonna submit that other warrant article? Special town meeting?
Oh, for
Oh, yeah.
the bargaining.
Yeah,
If the a bargaining agreement fails, hold a special town meeting, right? One meeting or whatever that
Or,
is.
or the negotiation.
No, it ain't.
You think?
No, it wasn't. Never talked about it. I think we could do that. I think this part,
should we do this in non-public?
probably,
What?
probably.
All right.
I want to talk about the warrant article.
I want to see if anybody else has any questions from the audience first.
Well, I haven't stopped them yet from talking, have I? Anybody?
I'll take his after.
Anybody else?
It's a lot to take in.
You got
so
another one?
No.
now you know what the warrant articles are.
You know what?
Give or take.
Peg don't.
I will.
Anybody
Hey,
have
you
any
got another
questions?
You can take that one.
Who am I sending my response from the library board of trustees?
Mr. Shute.
Oh, Mr. Shoot then, okay.
Or did he point it
His
to
governance.
Wait,
Yeah.
this one.
This one, yeah, I've got them all. So, what's our answer?
On what?
Do you have another one of
Oh,
these?
we're all over the place, we are.
No, we're not.
Answer on what?
That special warrant article.
I thought you said we were going to go
We're going to
non-public.
non-public.
Not that one.
Oh,
You wanted to talk about this.
yes, in non-public.
This,
The
yes.
special warrant article is the one for
The contingency
emergency
fund one.
No, I'm
We're
not
done with
talking.
that.
We're done.
No.
What's special?
If the CBA doesn't.
Oh,
That's what
oh.
Nate said just a minute ago, Peg. You
Oh,
didn't-
that's, okay, that's separate from this.
Yeah, it is.
Well, everybody's pointing at this, and I thought we were
I
going
know, and that's
non-public
why I
for
was
this.
totally-
I wasn't
confused.
pointing at that,
I'm so
Peg.
confused.
All right, so a second meeting if,
People are tired. you know?
why don't we talk about this and then we can all make that decision?
It needs to be public. Why should that be private? These people are gonna have to go home. Peg,
Not all of us get elected on the board, some of us get to leave.
All right, I guess I'm not understanding.
that
It's-
warrant article needs to be public. Your discussion about this needs to be private.
Okay,
So just having a second meeting if it
That's-
doesn't pass?
That was
Yes,
for the third time, Peg. That's my question. What do you want to do about that warrant article?
sure, put it on there.
That your motion?
Yeah,
Hell are we voting?
Peg?
Motion for a
I just
second
made a
meeting
motion
for
Okay.
something.
Finally get it, Peg?
If the CBA does not pass, I can't remember how it was worded, but will the town have a second meeting?
No, the school.
will the school board hold one special meeting? I think is what it was.
We're gonna have to go in and
limited to one
renegotiate
special
that
meeting.
one.
What?
So we'll have to go back in and renegotiate.
Right, to renegotiate.
Do I have a
right.
second?
I'll second it.
Do any more discussion? Now, last year, Peg, you said that, what was the cost you quoted last year
Go back.
about doing a special town warrant article?
It was a lot of money to have another meeting.
10 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, 10 or 15 grand to have another meeting.
I have no idea what it
It
is.
was a lot of money.
A lot of money. So do we want to do that or we don't want to do it?
Pardon?
No, not like Friday.
Oh, no, there's nothing like Friday.
But I,
You're asking.
If you don't want it, it's everybody's individual opinion. If we get 3 no's and 2 yeses, then we don't do it.
So, your motion here says if CBA does not pass, will the school board hold one more meeting? to go
special
back?
town meeting and all
So you
that.
say will. So you are or you're not?
But we are.
Now,
So-
if it does not pass, will the townspeople approve or vote or whatever that we can have another meeting? We go back and negotiate again with the teachers, and then we hold another special meeting, vote, whatever,
Is that a town cost or a school cost?
the school board cost.
The school.
And I
Everybody
think that's why I
understand that?
said no last year,
One more
because,
meeting.
Where's my black book? Is it in that, in the old
Okay.
one or
I will do my best.
did you keep my book?
It wasn't in the last one.
no, it was not in last
You
year.
you voted not to have it.
Yeah, because it was so expensive.
They're over there, but I think they're
Yeah.
locked up. So do we want to do that or we don't want to do it?
Well, there's a motion and a second. You
Okay,
gotta
we
take
made
the
up our
votes.
mind?
You gotta
Paul?
take the, no.
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 You don't
I don't
want
think
to
I've
do it.
ever had everybody say no before. On
Especially the
all
person that
of
brought it up.
on all of them.
So that means we're not doing it.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We're going non-public in a matter of seconds, yeah.
Hold the-
Nature calls for some of these people out here.
Melissa.
Me too.
No offense, Al.
And.
Not to call you out. Al has
Your
to be.
Ooh. Oh, my.
But the only thing we will say, we'll discuss it non-public, you can say what happened at this,
Okay,
Okay.
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 Non-public.
Let's
just
go,
overall,
let's
not the detail. Before we go into
go.
What,
non-public.
before we go to
go.
non-public?
Just tell them,
Motion.
All right, we just completed negotiations with the teachers. It was quite pleasant this time around. And I have not heard back from the MEA president, whether they've had their meeting yet and people have voted to ratify it, so. But okay. So
Okay.
we are planning, I've already checked, we agreed, which was a very positive thing, to go to the budget committee next Tuesday.
now, what about that? We're gonna need Nate there? Because he can't be there.
No,
Okay. The whole board is invited.
yep. And the MEA reps will be there just to present and go through and ask the budget committee a couple of questions and see what they have to say. But it really went very well this year, which,
Okay, all right.
what, do you guys want to come?
I'm working.
Okay, I'll need a,
Two.
Motion go to non-public.
Second.
okay, that'll be under RSA, right? I don't remember what it all is,
Yeah, you
ABs.
don't have to tell me, I got it.
Okay,
I got it.
Paul?
Aye.
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 Thanks, everybody, for coming.